Hey guys, so we're back again with another reading, and this one is all about a message from your future self. So we're going to be tuning into your future self and seeing what kind of messages they have for you, what they want you to know and be aware of, and what you have to look forward to in the future. We're going to be getting into all of it, and today we have a beautiful selection of cards for you guys to choose from. So you know the drill. You basically want to see which card is pulling in your energy and your attention, and then as soon as you've made up your mind as to what card that is, you're going to scroll down to the timestamps in the comments, in the description, and jump right into your pile. I also want to mention to you guys that I do have my Patreon up with a ton of additional readings. I just posted one all about what makes you sexy. So what people find alluring, attractive, sexy about you. That's a really fun, juicy one. But as soon as you sign up for my Patreon, you get access to all my additional readings. So over 55 additional readings about love, career, spirituality, family, friends, future life, past lives, relocation, so many different topics to choose from. So if you guys would like to sign up and join me over there, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description for my Patreon. And if you guys want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me. You can have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel mediumship, or intuitively. You can do a career reading, a love reading, a year ahead reading, just an energy check-in, but you get to really choose what we talk about during your session and time with me. So if you guys would like to book a session with me, head to the link in my description, briarrosetarot.com, and I would be happy to do a little reading for you. Anyways, with all of that being said, guys, if you need more time to decide and make up your mind on which pile to choose, feel free to rewind, pause, take as much time as you need, but we're going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey pile one, welcome to your reading. So for your cards, you guys got skywriting, the fates, perfect storm, the courage to step into life, crossing, initiation, and the further gate, bold step forward. So some of you guys may be feeling really called right now to make some big changes in your life. I just got the image of someone shaking off like almost a straitjacket or some really constricting clothing that they've been wearing for a really long time. And I almost feel like some of you guys, you've been, keeping yourselves on some kind of schedule or expectation or in some kind of world that is like no longer serving you. And there's this desire to have this bold new life. There's this desire to seek something out that's completely different and to really make a massive change. And I feel like this is a really exciting part of your path. I feel like it's almost like I'm seeing green lights in my head. It's like green light go, spirit saying like, yes, this is good for you. This is a deep soul urge that is heading in the right direction. I feel like your future self wants you to know that this is a really beautiful path for you to take. So if it looks scary, if it looks a little bit like this is not what I was expecting for myself and I didn't really plan on this, then rest assured, I think you guys are heading in the right direction. I think this is a really positive step. It's almost like some of you guys have been keeping yourselves hidden away a little, maybe doing some shadow work, maybe in hermit mode, maybe, going over some past things that you needed to fix or heal. And it's like you're now ready for this new change in a way I don't think you were ready before. Some of you guys might even be asking yourself like, well, I should have done this earlier. Why didn't I do it earlier? And if that's the case, I feel like you need to know that you weren't ready for it earlier. You're ready for it now in a way that you might not have had the growth or development before to actually handle all of this. Now you're finally at a place where like you've got this. And I feel like a lot of you guys are really going to be surprised and delighted. For some of you guys, it's going to be like more friendships, more relationships, because I'm seeing you guys surrounded by more people and being more like actively engaged in life, because I feel like some of you guys have been in a heavy energy of like sorting through your own issues, doing your own thing, which is beautiful. But I also feel like this is kind of about you like being more alive, and really plugging into something. It's almost like making a commitment is how it feels to me, like doing something big that is going to require a lot of commitment. And maybe that's why you're scared. Maybe that's why you're like, oh, this makes me nervous. I don't want to have to sign this contract, or this is a really big change or something like that. But again, I feel like this is a good thing. And I feel like it's kind of something you guys have been craving. Like you've been craving a new level of, like I said, commitment, a new level of a challenge. And this is going to challenge you, yes, but in a good way, in a fun way that I think you guys are going to really enjoy. I think it's like a challenge. It's almost like you need it, you know? Like maybe things have been stagnant and a little bit boring for you lately. And this is going to be something that, yeah, like kind of throws you for a loop, but in a way that is like the most amazing feeling ever. I want to shuffle some live cards. So let's get some tarot for pile number 1. Oh, got 2 flying out. Okay, so 2 of Pentacles, the King of Swords, 8 of Swords. So there may be a question for you about like how you're going to figure this out. We have all these sword cards, and whenever you have a lot of sword cards, there can be a lot of mental energy. There can also be a lot of logistics, a lot of details that need to be put into place. So maybe it's like you have a dream, you have a goal, you have something you want to accomplish, but you're kind of like, I don't know how this is going to happen. Or maybe it's that, you know, there's this stress, this mental energy you're putting towards it, that it's going round and round in your mind of like, okay, but then I'll have to call this person, and then maybe I could get that form, but okay, and then I need to sign up for this. And it's like all this just like worry. And maybe you're even like, how am I going to accomplish it? Like, how am I actually going to go about this? Like, can I make this happen? Is this just a pipe dream? Is this even possible? You know, the sword cards can definitely be conflict, but they can also be worry and really being in your head about something and really being unsure, especially with that 8 of Swords, unsure of how it's going to happen, you know, like going back and forth in your head about like, I don't know, this is just, I don't see a way. And I feel like you need to know that where there's a will, there's a way. And also where spirit is there, there's a way. If you put something on your mind and you trust the process, you don't have to know how every little detail is going to happen. You don't have to see every single step along the journey. I always compare, you know, manifesting something. It's kind of like how I've gone on a bunch of cross-country road trips. I love doing a little road trip, even though I hate driving usually short distances. For some reason, I love a road trip. So I've gone on a bunch, and you know, sometimes you will be like driving along and it'll say, you know, you want to know like, where am I going to go next? Like maybe it says head down this road for 10 miles, but you're like, okay, but like last time you made me like roll across 6 lanes of traffic to get the exit at the last moment. So please tell me where I'm heading next. And you might try to look up all the turns and all the twists on the journey, but it's pretty much useless. And once you've tried to do that a bunch of times, you just learn like, okay, whatever, I'll just wait for Siri to tell me my next move. You know, we have this desire as humans to like figure out every step along the journey, to know which road to turn on, which place we need to go, where we're going to head next, what it's going to look like, what kind of road is it. But the fact is that like just trusting the process is probably the easiest thing. And there's a reason why like Apple doesn't give you the whole rundown as you're driving and doesn't tell you like in 200 miles, make a left on Mills Road. Then in 60 feet, make a right on Phillips Road, and then enter onto Interstate 45. And they're not going to tell you that because it's 200 miles in the future. You know, it's 200 miles down the road. You don't need to know that far ahead. And I think sometimes in life that's the case for us too with spirit. We want to know every single detail, and we start stressing out about how is this going to happen? Like, how is this going to take place? How could this possibly happen? Because I'm in this situation right now. I keep thinking it through. I keep overthinking it. I keep worrying about it. I just don't see a way that this could take place. But trust that spirit has this like grand map for you. Spirit can see every single stop along the road, every single part of the destination. And just like when sometimes, you know, when you're driving on Apple Maps or Google Maps or whatever you use, they might have like a road closure. And in your mind, if you were just going off like what you thought was the only route, you'd be like, oh my God, I can't get here. Like the trip is over. Oh my gosh. But of course, they have a million other routes that you could take to get to that destination. So my point in all this is like, I feel like spirit is calling on you to kind of trust this process, to set your intention. If there's something big you guys are wanting to accomplish, I feel like spirit wants you to know that it is an option. It's not impossible, but maybe move your mind out of this rational, logical, overthinking, panicked vibe and start thinking about things as, I know it's going to happen. I'm sure it's going to happen. I know this is my part of the journey. I don't know exactly the route I'm going to take to get there, but I know I'm going to arrive at the destination. And I know also that there are infinite options to take me there. Like I said, if you see a road closure on Google Maps, they're not going to be like, go, just turn around and go home. They're always going to provide you with, okay, we'll go down this street, or you can turn here. Maybe you have to backtrack a little and you have to go back a mile on the road, but then there's another route you can take to get there. There's always another option. So I feel like you guys just need to, like I said, kind of trust this process and don't let the worries run away with you. Don't let yourself get into your head and into your mind and start thinking about things as a pessimistic vibe. It's like, it's not going to happen. It's never going to happen, or this would have to happen, or, oh my gosh, like this is impossible. That I feel like is not what spirit wants from you guys. I feel like it's going to be really important for you to keep your head screwed on straight and to stay very positive about this and to stay very forward thinking and to stay assuming the best, assuming that only positive stuff is going to happen and that everything is going to work out in your favor and that you will be able to achieve whatever this is, because I do feel like this is a really beautiful thing for you guys. Maybe it's something you have wanted for a really long time and now it's like you're finally here, you're finally ready to step into this. And I just feel like your guides want you to, like I said, trust the process. If there's something big you're thinking of doing and maybe you're like, yeah, I really want to do this, but I don't even know how it's going to work out. Like, how is this going to happen? Keep in mind that also your mind is literally changing the outcome. So the more you can think positive, the more you can be like, of course it's going to work out. I know it's going to be great. I know it's going to be awesome. I know everything is going to be magically worked out in my favor and I am divinely protected and, spirit has my back. The more it's going to turn out better than you had ever imagined. Let's get into some more cards for pile number 1. What does pile 1 need to know? What does their future self want them to know, Spirit? The High Priestess, okay. 7 of Cups reversed. And 6 of Wands. I feel like pile 1, a lot of you guys have this really beautiful, like sweet, trusting, kind of jovial spirit. And I also feel like some of you guys in this pile, it's almost like I'm getting this energy of disappointment that some of you guys have been feeling really jaded lately, or maybe you've had some major disappointments and it's almost like you have such a sweet soul that I feel like maybe you're not even dreaming as big as you could with that 7 of Cups reverse. Like you're in such a pessimistic mindset now because of some things that didn't work out in the past, some people that came against you, people that were mean to you, people that were nasty to you. And I almost would love to see you guys go back to like the younger, more optimistic, almost childlike version of yourself when you just knew that you could never fail at it. What would you do? I feel like you need to ask yourself that, pile 1. If you could do literally anything you wanted, I want you, even if you have to pause the video to stop to think on it, or even if it doesn't come to you right away, start thinking about it all the time and start putting it out there to Spirit as a question you want them to answer. But if you could do literally anything you wanted, what would that be? What kind of a thing? And I feel like for a lot of you guys, this has been something that's been banging around in your mind, something you've been thinking about, something you've been considering, something you're like, yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah, but I can't. People will judge me, or it's not going to work out, or it's just too far-fetched, or how would I make that happen? That seems impossible. I feel like Spirit wants you to know that it absolutely is possible, but you're the only one who can bring your magical energy to it, because pile 1, I feel like you guys are such a magical, special soul. I feel like you guys, almost like you're the life of the party or the straw that stirs the drink kind of vibe. Like you're someone who is, so many people are drawn to you. So many people really like you and enjoy you and are, they feel very infectious towards you. Like your energy is infectious. Your energy is just like just so beautiful. I feel like people just love, love, love being around you. And some of you guys might have had a lot of jealousy directed at you. And so maybe that's why some of you guys have been in hermit mode, kind of hiding away, kind of like not showing yourself a little bit. And I feel like your guides really want you to push yourself, to show yourself more, to put yourself out there more, to go for things more, and to like trust this part of the process. Like it's almost like the days of hiding away, or the days of you guys like holding yourself back, not showing yourself to everyone, I really feel like those are over. I really feel like it's really important for you right now to be as bold as possible and to not be afraid anymore. Like, one thing I think in life is we just honestly, I keep getting that vibe, and they keep showing me someone driving in their car, and it's like, it would like, I can just say I've driven from, the East Coast, from like DC to California and back. And, it's kind of like, of course, I don't know what road I'm going to take when I'm going through New Mexico. I don't have this whole list, when I'm pulling out of the driveway in LA. But I know and I trust the process that it's going to be fine, that it's going to work out, that I'm going to know when I'm in New Mexico. They're going to show me the notification. I'm going to figure it out. And so I think sometimes when we're embarking on an endeavor, especially something that seems really big, like a really huge journey for us, and it's hard for us to envision, like, but how can I make this dream happen? How can this possibly work out for me? This seems too big. It just seems too massive. There's no way I can't actually do this. When the reality is that we are going to figure it out. Spirit will give us, first of all, you guys are probably highly psychic. We got the high priestess for you guys. You guys have incredible gifts. You're able to tune into spirit at will. You will be directed, and you will have the intuition and the knowledge of exactly what you should do to get to the right outcome. And what I've found doing this kind of spiritual work is a lot of times spirit doesn't even want to give you messages for like super far down the road, because it's not that relevant. Spirit wants you to focus on like where you're at now and trust the process one step at a time. And spirit will often only reveal to us like something we need to know for our current life, because in a way I think maybe it would be too overwhelming if we could see the whole vision, if we could see everywhere we're headed, if we could see the whole grand plan spirit has for us. We might get really freaked out. We might start to like panic and be like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for this, that kind of a thing. So sometimes spirit is going to hide that from us. Spirit isn't going to like let us in on all of it and the whole vision. Spirit is going to like let us in at one step that we need to make next. And I feel like that's kind of at the point you're at now, but I feel like you need to trust whatever this is. I feel like I said, it's like green light, go. And I keep getting all these driving metaphors for you guys because I feel like you're heading to this really amazing new destination. But the thing about it is I think you're going to need to just trust that like it's going to be good. It's going to work out. Yeah, you might not know what's happening right now, and you might not be able to plan out the whole vision of everything that's going to be taking place, but trust that in the moment you will know exactly where you're supposed to head. So even if like everything isn't perfect with whatever this plan is for this new move in your life, trust the process. And I feel like you should just go for it. Just like I said, green light, go. Just make it happen, because I think this is going to be such a beautiful, new, exciting time for you. And it's a really, really positive thing. And I think your guides are like, it's about dang time. Like, I feel like they are really more excited than anyone to see what's going to happen with this, because they have been waiting for you to step into your power. They've been waiting for you to engage a little bit more in the world. And again, I feel like some of you guys have been hurt in the past by other clown-like people, mean people. And it's been something that has really bothered you. And, maybe you've taken a lot of hurt from that. But like, I feel like you need to know you are so much more powerful now than you were then. Some of you guys might be thinking on people who like stabbed you in the back or treated you really bad, and maybe it's making you sad. And I feel like the message that I'm getting from spirit with that is like, you're so much stronger now than you were. And there's so much you gained from them stabbing you in the back. That's not to take away from their cruelty or what they did wrong, or to be like, hey, it's not that bad. They're fine. Get over that. I'm not saying it to absolve them, but I'm saying that so that you stop thinking about it as like, oh my God, I got hurt by this. No, you got stronger from it. And they might have had the intention to hurt you, but you guys are actually stronger and better off now than you were in the past. I feel like, Pile, when you need to know, you are in a better place now than you've ever been. Like, you are so strong. You've done so much work. Your guys are so proud of you. You're so powerful now. And it's almost like the sky is the limit. You guys have this unlimited potential. And I feel like your guides, your future self, they are so excited to see you guys tap into that. I almost feel like some of you guys need to give yourself a pat on the back for how far you've come and what you guys have done, because it's really so incredible. And you deserve every bit of credit for the places that you've taken yourself to and the places you're going to go. It's absolutely amazing. And I feel like not everyone could have handled everything that was thrown in your direction, pile one. You guys truly are special for the way you have handled this. And now I feel like it's like we're moving into a different phase in your life. And honestly, it feels like it's so exciting for you. Not necessarily in like a crazy way as like you're going to be going out until 3 a.m. Although maybe, I mean, it's a general reading, so take what resonates, whatever is coming to your mind, this will be the change in your life. But it feels like it's a monumental change and a new era for you, and one that I feel like you are able to handle in a way you couldn't in the past. Let me get some message cards for pile number one, numero uno. Let's get some messages for pile one. What do you want pile one to know from their future self? Rest, renew, recharge. What does your body crave right now? So maybe some of you guys are being called upon to rest a little bit. I could see this as being resting up your energy before this new era, before this new stage, because it might, be a lot. It might be something that you're really doing a lot during this time, and you need this extra energy. Nothing real can be threatened. How can you actively participate in creating heaven on earth? Wow, I love that. And it always reminds me of the Beyonce song All Night, which is one of my fave songs. I love the vibe, the energy, the love in that song, especially the video, because they show all these real couples in love and you can just feel the good vibes. But I feel that for you guys, when that song comes to my mind, it's also like, I feel like it's the energy of love, and it's the energy too of relationships and plugging in and talking to people, and that special vibe you get with someone you care about, be it a friend, be it a lover, be it a family member, whatever. And some of you guys this new change is going to bring you into all new kinds of relationships, all new people in your life, all new people around you. And I think you're going to feel so happy with, like I said, some of the changes you've made. You're able to stand up for yourself more. You have more power. You are more powerful now and more in control of your power than you ever were in the past. Bad behavior you might have tolerated in the past, you will never tolerate now. So honestly, it's like, and as I'm looking at my clock, it's like it was 2020. So 2 is what that comes to mind for me. And of course, 2s in numerology are a relationship number. So I really feel like there is this energy about you of like, now I feel like you've worked through so much trash and so much shadow work and so much like lower vibrational energy. You did such a great job with that. I think your guides are so happy, and now it's like we are ready to kind of lay down some roots and just like dig into something and like really embark on this endeavor and give it our all in a way we just weren't before. And if you're like, why did this have to take so long? That's why it needed to take as long as it did, is because you were working through those issues. You were working through things that needed to be changed. And what does this say? Out of the woods, you've made it through. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. That is perfect message for you guys. Out of the woods, you've made it through. What newness is emerging? Because y'all were kind of in the woods, like the dark woods. Like I feel like you guys were doing the work. You were really like doubling down. It was almost like you were in school. You know how like when you're in junior year, at least in the US, 11th grade, junior year is like the most hard year because it's like basically the final year before you apply to college. I think first semester senior year like kind of matters, especially if you don't get into like your first choice. Then you might have to like apply in the spring or something, and then your first semester grades matter. But it's mostly junior year that matters because most people are going to apply to their first choice early senior year. And so how well you do junior year like makes a huge difference. And then by second semester, senior year, you're already in your college. None of your grades will matter to the colleges. So it's like most of the people are completely slacking off. And I almost feel like y'all just graduated from junior year. You know what I mean? You guys just came through the hardest part, and it's going to get better. It's going to get easier. And again, I feel like with this new endeavor you're embarking on, it's just like, I feel like you need to know it's going to be easier than you think. Like it's going to be harder in some ways, but in so many ways, it's going to be easier. I feel like you guys have been through it. Maybe some of you guys have been going through a harsh Saturn transit, like a Saturn return, Saturn in the first house, Saturn conjunct a major planet like the sun, moon, ascendant. But I feel like you've grown so much, and it's like you're really, really ready for a complete disruption and a complete change. And I honestly think you're going to be so happy with this. I really feel in a way like I could get emotional because I feel like I just heard something. It's like that Taylor Swift lyric where she's like, "You were the best thing that's ever been mine." And I feel like some of you guys, yeah, I'm getting emotional. This is, wow, I didn't expect it to be so deep. But I feel like some of you guys are getting something that is finally yours. You know what I mean? Like you have been dealing with so much stuff, and you might have felt like you've not really had a solid foundation, or everything was always up in the air, or things were always getting, the rug was always getting ripped out from under you. And it's almost like now you have something solid. This is something, I feel like you're making something solid. You're building something concrete and solid and untouchable that no one else can intervene with and no one else can come and take. Like this is going to be all yours. You know what I mean? And honestly, I feel like this is really positive. I can feel that some of you guys are a little scared right now. You're a little nervous. But honestly, like I said at the very beginning, I'm getting green light go. This is so beautiful. You're ready for whatever this is. And I feel like your guides are like, yeah, this is, I'm so excited. You finally got the message. You finally got the call to embark on this because you're going to love this journey. You're going to love this path, even though it's, you know, not everything's going to be perfect with anything in life. Everything is going to have its own challenges, but y'all are so ready for this, and it's ready for you. So yeah, I think that's what I have for you guys. Pile one, what an emotional reading I got. I really thought I was going to cry, which I try not to do on my readings. But I was like, I might have a Cancer moon moment and just burst into tears. But anyways, guys, I really hope it resonated with you. If it did, let me know in the comments. I always love hearing from you guys, hearing your thoughts, observations, how it resonated. I'm always super curious. So please let me know. Also, make sure to give this reading a like, hit the thumbs up button. So also make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can find out as soon as I post. And if you guys want to see more of my readings, be sure to head to my Patreon. I just posted one all about what people find sexy about you. So that's a really juicy, fun one. But as soon as you sign up, you get access to all my additional readings. So over 55 additional readings about career, love, money, spirituality, family, friends, future life, past lives, relocation, so many different topics. There's so many topics, obviously 55 plus. So if you guys would like to check that out, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description, and I would love to see you over on Patreon. Also, if you guys want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me, have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel mediumship, or intuitively for you. You can get a year ahead reading, a love reading, a career reading. You can really ask me whatever you want, just do an energy check-in. So if you'd like to get one of those, like I said, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and I would love to do a reading for you. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll be back again very soon with another reading. So take care, guys, and I'll see you then. Bye. Hey Pile 2, welcome to your reading. So for your cards, you guys got Dust Devil, Moving Out of Stagnation, Mindful, Groupthink, Horseman, Herald of Change, and Garden of Venus, Rest and Renewal. So, I am getting the message that for some of you guys, there have been maybe a lot of changes happening or a lot of changes that are going to be coming up for you. You might be a little bit nervous, freaking out about like how are those changes going to look, what's going to be happening, what's going to be taking place. And there's a message that sometimes when you're making a really big change in your life, sometimes when you're really shaking things up, it does stir up all this dust. It can look like a very chaotic situation. It can look like things are almost falling apart or like, oh my God, how is this going to happen? How is this going to work out? And it can be hard to even trust the process. It can feel like what's going on is a loss when actually it's happening for your benefit and your gain. So if there's a lot of changes that you're going through now, have been going through, or will be going through, then just know that as chaotic and difficult as the process may seem, it's going to be working out for good. Whenever this card comes up, it can mean that there's something that needs to be changed. Sometimes we can get too comfortable in life and it needs to be a little bit disrupted. We need to go through, we come to this earth to grow, right? To make changes, to have our best life. And I'm sure we can all think back to times in our life when we're like, no, I'm happy here, but a change happened and we were so much happier. I'm thinking of a time, Spirit is showing me a time when I was like staying in this hotel and I really liked my hotel room. Like, it wasn't like my dream, like, oh, the best hotel room ever, but I was like, oh yeah, I like the view, like everything's good. It's pretty much satisfying all the things I want in a hotel room. Like it's relatively quiet and it's, a nice view, whatever. But they, told me basically you have to move rooms, like you can't be in that room anymore. They were doing construction or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I have to move midway through my trip. This is so annoying. I was so annoyed to have to like pack up all my stuff to put everything away. Like I was like, this is, because like you have your big suitcase and you take out all your clothes. And so I was like, okay, I guess I can like pack and move rooms, whatever. I guess I'll do it. And it ended up being the best blessing. I loved my new room. It was like on the very top floor, which I love. And it was just so much quieter and it was so much better. Like the vibe, the energy was just exactly what I wanted. The view was amazing. And I was thinking afterwards, like, why was I so resistant? Because I think in my mind, I was just thinking of like, oh, I have to do all that, the packing, and I'm gonna have to like move. And I like the energy here. And I was worried that like the energy would be worse in, the other room as an energetically sensitive person. And it ended up being, like I said, the biggest blessing. And I feel like so much of the time in life, we tend to get in that vibe. We're happy, we're settled where we are. We tend to just be like, no, I just want to chill here. I don't want I don't want anything changing. I don't want any disruptions. But the reality is a lot of times those disruptions are happening to benefit you. And if you can trust the process, if you can go with the flow, if you can know that a temporary disturbance, some dust getting kicked up in the moment is not a bad thing. That's kind of what this dust devil card shows, is like you are moving out of stagnation, but in the process, all this dust is flying up and it can look a little chaotic, But I do think you need to know that on the other side of this, you're going to be really happy. So if there's something that you're having to change in your life, something that you're kind of moving around, and maybe it's been a little scary for you, or you're like, I don't know if I'm ready for this change, or I'm happy where I was. I feel like you just need to, again, trust this process, know that it's going to be working out for your favor and for your highest good. And just keep your mind on that, because it feels like some of this stuff needs to change. And I feel like you just need that reminder that what's on the other side of this is going to be a lot better. Let me get into some tarot cards for pile number 2. We want to get some tarot for what's happening for them. So we got the 10 of Pentacles reversed, 5 of Pentacles upright. Okay, so whenever we have that situation coming out, it can talk sometimes about a need to watch your money or not be like overly frivolous. There's also this energy, though, I'm getting with the 5 of Pentacles, that sometimes we can be, the 5 of Pentacles can be a very distrusting, miserly energy, someone that's kind of limiting themselves. And maybe sometimes it can be because they don't want to spend any money, because they are, kind of convinced that like things aren't going to work out, because they might have a scarcity mindset or have this idea that like things are going to be really hard. So they end up being very, very careful to the point where they end up blocking blessings for them. I mean, it does show someone like outside of a church and kind of like, purposefully outside of that church, or maybe in an energy where they're, convinced that they're not allowed inside. They're not even trying to get in. There's a lot of different interpretations with the Five of Pentacles. It's an interesting card. But I do feel like for some of you guys, there might be like this distrusting attitude you have. Like maybe you're that kind of person that tries to absolutely plan out every detail, or you feel like you have to know everything. And it's not to say be reckless. Like if your financial situation is bad, then maybe you're going to have to like watch the money and whatnot. But also having like a positive attitude about it, keeping your mindset on like, I know I'm going to get money. I expect the best. I welcome in this energy of the Ten of Pentacles upright, where I know that wealth is my birthright and just things are easy and things flow for me and I'm already at this place of high abundance. Maybe like, again, I'm not telling you to make any unwise financial decisions. Absolutely take care of bills that you need to take care of. Don't overextend yourself or like sign up for, a credit card that you can't really afford or something. But by the same token, having that attitude and that mindset that like it's all getting better, this change is happening for my good, whatever is going on is going to benefit me, I think will really help you guys. And again, with the Five of Pentacles, it can show someone who's just convinced of like negativity is kind of what I'm getting. Like sometimes it can show someone who kind of expects the worst, or someone who is willingly like not entering into a place of blessings, because again, it shows someone stuck outside of the church. A lot of times back in the day, churches would welcome people in and give them things and help them out, right? And so there's, different interpretations, whether they were exiled or kicked out of the church, or whether they are just out there just not even trying to get in, But either way, it can show someone that's not welcoming in the blessings, not allowing the blessings to flow. And for you guys, I feel like there's this message of, like I said, expecting the best, expecting goodness, expecting that things are going to work out for you with this, and stepping towards that. Not to say be not careful about it, not to say just throw caution to the wind and just do whatever you want and just go and spend $10,000 when you only have $200 in your bank account. But by the same token, don't be like panicking over 30 cents. You know what I mean? When you spend or pay a bill, do it welcomely. Doing it, I'm saying words that don't exist, but doing it like with welcoming in paying the bill, being excited about like, I'm so glad I have the money to pay this. I'm so glad I'm in this financial position where I can afford this. I feel so abundant. I know I'm getting even more wealth. I know that everything is working out for me. And this is just a great feeling. I know that I am going to have everything taken care of and everything is happening so fantastically for me. That energy is going to compound upon itself. Let me get some more tarot cards for pile number 2. What is this? Six of Cups reversed. Okay. King of Wands. Wheel of Fortune reversed. And the Eight of Cups. So yeah, I feel like there is this kind of pessimistic vibe that I keep getting in this pile, to be honest. And I feel like some of you guys really need to work to shift your mindset. Maybe you have had a few knocks or a few bad things happening for you recently. I am feeling like a sadder feeling, to be honest, as I tune into this energy. It feels like maybe some of you guys you've been thinking really negative lately. Maybe you've been having a lot of like shadow things come up for you, or you're just in a place where you just don't feel like things are working out for you. And I feel like you need to know that like things can change on a dime. We did get the Horseman Herald of Change card. So there might be a big, beautiful change that's going to be coming in for you that's going to disrupt all of this and give you a ton of blessings that you're going to be super, super happy about. But I feel like there's something that needs to happen with possibly some of you guys keeping yourself in also a more positive space. Like maybe you've been hanging around with people who could be overly critical, or maybe you've been hanging out in like online spaces that can be overly critical or pessimistic or negative. And I feel like we need to get the message that what we consume, the things we drink in, the things we take in, watch, listen to also affects our mindset. So if you're hanging out, reading the news, and every day it's so negative and you're just panicking more and more, then maybe stop reading the news. I know I'm not saying to be an ostrich and bury your head in the sand completely, but I do think there's something to be said for expecting the positive. You know, I will say, like I mentioned this before because there's a spiritual truth to it, but Pisces gets roasted by astrologers all the time for being delusional. And I'm not gonna lie, I guess sometimes we could be delusional. I kind of like hate that. I don't believe it's necessarily true, but I am a Pisces, so I'm biased. But, you know, everyone always says how delusional Pisces is. And Neptune does rule things like dissociation, even using alcohol or drugs or things that take you out of reality. Pisces loves to dissociate from reality. But the thing is, like I said, I mentioned this before, Susan Miller is the first one that brought it to my attention, and she mentions it a lot. And she's such a famous, respected astrologer, and she always mentions how Pisces is the wealthiest sign year after year. And I think a big reason is because maybe they are delusional, because Pisces tends to be very happy-go-lucky, tends to be very like head in the clouds, la 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 la. And there's something very magical about that. There's something very special about having a mindset of just expecting the best, expecting things to work out, not allowing yourself to get into a place of pessimism, but just assuming that, like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know it's going to work out for me. I know this is going to be great. I'm welcoming in the blessings. I'm expecting them, and not allowing yourself to get rolled up and brought down in this negativity, in this nasty mindset that I feel like so many people have today, and also just the pessimism of the news, like all the horrible things that are happening in the world. It can be so easy to get embroiled in that. I just read this story about this guy who survived the Titanic, and they said that he kept leaving. He was totally fine because he's a man, so he was like, you know, I know that, like, I'm not going to be, you know, getting off in one of the life rafts. Like, I know it's going to be women and children, and I'm going to have to go down with the ship. So he was very stoic about it, and he just went down to his room constantly to go take shots of alcohol. And he'd leave like every few minutes as they're loading all the women and children into the life rafts to go take a shot. And then he comes back up and, you know, keeps helping them. But by the time this boat actually sinks, he's like drunk as a skunk. He's like completely drunk, wasted. You know what I mean? Which is probably what I would want to do if, like, I was on a sinking ship too and I knew there was no way off. I'd be like, yeah, just give me that bottle. Let me just dissociate and get happy drunk and pretend like it's not happening. Like, he was like, there's no way out, so there's nothing I can do. Anyway, what ended up happening was they said he rode down the ship as it sank like an elevator. He just coasted down on it. And something about him drinking because like drinking expands the blood vessels, but then the cold water was restricting the blood vessels because it was so cold. And anyway, the alcohol ended up really helping with the blood vessels, and he ended up surviving in the cold ocean water for like hours until he got rescued. And he said he didn't feel any pain the whole time. He was just chill the whole time. And honestly, I was thinking about that, and not just that, but also about how many people have survived car accidents and stuff because they're drunk. Like, if there's like drunk driving accidents, it's almost like a sad joke how much of the time that the drunk driver will come out totally fine and the person they hit will not be so lucky. It's really sad. But this is like a common thing. People who are drunk tend to survive accidents. They tend to be like way better off when they fall, or when they fall out of something, or anything happens to them, or they get punched or anything like that, because their body is so relaxed at all times, they don't tense up. And I was thinking on this, and all the fact that like Neptune rules intoxication. Like I said, Pisces, Neptune sign tends to get wealthier, even though everyone roasts us for being delusional. And there's something sometimes about removing yourself from reality that honestly can bring you those blessings and help you survive difficult situations. Now, of course, I'm not advocating for alcoholism at all. I know alcoholism can have some really horrible effects on the body, like, you know, on your liver and stuff like that. And I would never be like, hey, go get drunk every day. I'm not saying that, or use drugs or something. No, I'm not advocating for that. But I'm saying that we can get into that. We don't even need alcohol. We don't need drugs. We can get into that mindset of like, everything's going to be great. Rose-colored glasses. Let me assume the best. Let me just know and trust that Spirit is taking me to exactly the right place. And sometimes Spirit might have to disrupt things first. Sometimes Spirit might have to like kick up a little storm around me, cause a lot of difficulty. Maybe sometimes, you know, things look like they're getting worse for now, but again, trusting that process, knowing that it's happening for a reason. It's happening to remove us from a situation that may be stagnant and no longer serving us. And I feel like that's what's happening for some of you guys, is like this situation that you're in, whatever is changing in your life. Yeah, it may be stressful to go through this change. And it may be something that you're like, ugh, can't believe I have to do all this. But honestly, I feel like you're going to be a lot better off on the other side. And I feel like you need to kind of welcome this in. I love the Eight of Cups because the Eight of Cups is showing that you're leaving, even though there's a lot of symbolism in it, he's leaving behind all these upright cups. So there's 3 knockdown cups, and then he's leaving behind 5 cups that are upright. So in tarot, the symbology of that with a knockdown cup means like it's not working out, it's a bad situation. But the upright cups are actually symbolic of things that are blessings and working out. So he's leaving behind a situation that technically to a lot of people, they might be like, yeah, that looks good. Like this is great. You got 5 upright cups. Everything's going fantastic. You're in this beautiful setting. You know, you're in this forest, in this stream, and you are for some reason leaving it behind and heading into the mountains and chasing towards the moon. Moon is related to Pisces and tarot and is also, you know, known as delusion. That's why we have the phrase lunacy. So, you know, water signs in general get stereotyped as being a little crazy and a little delusional, but this is what is actually a very positive sign, showing that like he knows, he's trusting this process, that there's something better, even though someone else might look at this and be like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? There's 5 upright cups. There's only 3 knockdown cups. Like, yeah, maybe the situation isn't perfect, but like, oh my God, get over it. Like everything else is fine. And he's like, no, I know something is better for me. And a lot of people are probably calling this person crazy or being like, oh my God, just settle. But he knows something better is on the horizon. So I really feel like Spirit wants you guys to be emboldened, to deserve more, to ask for more. I think some of you guys might even need to meditate on like what would make you really happy, what would be something that would be serving you a little bit more. What's something that really makes you feel enthusiastic? Because the energy I'm getting around you guys now is like there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of panic, there's a lot of like, oh, I don't know if I can do that, or what are people going to say, or what are people going to think, or you know, I just don't know. Like I just, and almost like pessimism, allowing your worries to run away from you instead of expecting the best. Again, this guy is leaving behind a stream, which is very positive when it comes to tarot symbology. Streams are, you know, sources of water, and he's heading out into the woods and the forest, and he's heading out towards the moon. He's heading out in the middle of the night, you know, by himself to go towards, and moon is representative of a lot of things, but it's our intuition, it's our it's sometimes it can be like a mirage or something crazy or something somewhat delusional, but a lot of times it's our intuition. It's a shadowy, kind of mysterious, I don't really know what this is going to be yet, but I'm trusting the process. The moon hides, whereas sun is light and bright, and you can see exactly what's going on. With the moonlight, you can't really see much, but he's trusting that process. He's trusting that on the other side of it, it's going to be a lot better. So I feel like for you guys, if there is a big change happening to you, you need to like just keep your mindset right about this and not allow your worries to run away with you. I know how hard that can be. I know how like the worries can just stream in a million miles an hour, but I think that Spirit is calling upon you guys to really like get your mind into the right place, get your emotions into the right place, find something to make you happy, find something to make you feel positive, even if the world seems like, you know, there's a lot of negativity happening, or in your personal life, there's a lot of negativity, or you might be around people that are very negative, and really maybe edit those people's presence in your life. Or if you're spending time in like online places where there's a lot of negativity, or you're reading the news or whatever, edit how much access you have to negativity and really control who's getting access to your mind, how you allow your mind to, you know, think about information. Let's get into some message cards for pile number 2. Can we get some messages for pile 2? To receive, you must release. And I think that's what this change energy is. Like I said, when I was moving that hotel room, I was like, I don't really like, I like this hotel room. And in my mind, I just kept thinking of like, what if the next hotel room's horrible? Like I'm picky about, you know, like I don't like a lot of noise. I like a cute view, and I don't you know, I am like a little bit picky. So I was like, I just don't want to get into like a horror. And I kept thinking like, oh my gosh, what if the next hotel room is awful? And instead it ended up being so much better. It was so wonderful. And I feel like there's, again, that message for you guys that you gotta let go of something else. You gotta sometimes leave a situation that may be nice to you now, maybe it's fine, but to get to somewhere better, to get to that dream situation that you wanted, you gotta release, you gotta let go, you gotta welcome in the new and be willing to get rid of something that's no longer serving you perfectly. And the question that they ask you on this card is, what can you let go of? What do you want to receive? And I think that's what you guys need to get really clear about. What kind of life do you want? And if you want that kind of a life, are you putting your mind on that? Are you allowing your thoughts to access that idea in a very positive way all the time, in an assertive way, in a I know it's mine way, I know it's going to work out way, whew, I can't wait for this, this is freaking awesome kind of way? Or are you thinking about it pessimistically, like, I really want this is never going to happen, I could never do that, yeah, like that's a million. Oh God, what a joke that is for me. Oh my God, like my credit's in such a bad situation. Of course, I'm never going to own my own business. Or, you know, I haven't dated anyone in years. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find a really amazing partner, please. Or like, I look awful. Like, how am I going to go out and like flirt with someone? Look at me. I look horrible. All those thoughts like influence the outcome. So the more pessimistic you are, then like that's going to come true. If you can think of something really beautiful about yourself, even if you're having a hard time thinking about it and you've been feeling in a low self-esteem place, there's something beautiful you can fixate on yourself. Then you can fixate on, you know, I love my smile, or I love my eyes, or I really love my shoulders. I think they're really, you know, broad and beautiful or something. Whatever you can fixate on yourself, that's what you need to do. I think that's why, again, this guy survived the Titanic and Pisces is always the wealthiest sign. Something about being intoxicated and out of reality and just being like positive and super happy. Another energy that's very delusional, I think, is Sagittarius. Both Jupiter ruled, and Jupiter also rules luck. So Sagittarius and Pisces, I feel like they're both kind of like delusional, one in a fire sign way, one in a water way, but both of them have incredible luck. Sagittarians are really, really lucky, and they literally, Jupiter rules over luck. And Pisces are lucky even despite everything that gets thrown at them, even despite having a kind of martyr vibe to them. So my point is, you know, there's something to be said for just putting a smile on and just like smiling and waving and just assuming everything's going to be great, you know? People can hate on us Pisces for it, and Sagittarians too, but like, hey, we're doing good, so keep hating. Okay, what else? We got, you are the image maker. What you focus on manifests. Exactly. You are controlling things. You have so much power in your mind, and you need to realize this, Pile, too. You can literally influence the outcome of things by what you focus on. I mean, I feel like it's so funny sometimes, you know, like they'll do one of those show makeovers. Like I'm thinking of like, you know, on like the Today Show or stuff, they'll do like a mommy makeover and they'll take like an attractive lady and they'll take her to like New York and they'll like change her hair up and put her in some fashion forward outfit. And a lot of times, like in my mind, she objectively looks worse after. Like they'll put her in something that's like way too fashion forward that like doesn't really fit her vibe. And I'm like, she looked really good before. But it's so funny because like the confidence changes. She feels pampered. She feels looked after. She feels beautiful. So she's not walking out like sadly before like she was when she was thinking she just needed this mommy makeover and she was just this frumpy mom. Suddenly she feels beautiful and she's been pampered for several hours by like this hairstylist and manicurist in Manhattan, and so she's feeling herself on a new level. We've all had that feeling of like leaving the hair salon. We feel so good, but it's almost like we can access that energy at any time, right? It's not even about the freaking hair treatment. I mean, most of the time you ask a guy like, hey, do you like my haircut? He's like, what haircut? He doesn't even notice. But what does change is our energy. It's like we're the same, but the energy changes. The feeling about ourselves changes. So how can you access that positive energy, Pile 2? How can you start thinking of yourself as like, I'm a goddess. I look beautiful. I look amazing. Everything's working out. This is great. This is fantastic. I can't wait to see how much better this gets. Let's get into some more cards. A final card for pile number 2. Oh my goodness. Love it when this card comes up. Midas touch, things are working out in your favor. Wow. In what ways are you abundant right now? So pile 2, this is a very positive reading. I'm telling you, things are working out for your favor. And maybe it's just a mindset shift you need to make. Because, like I mentioned before, this Five of Pentacles, it's almost like a purposeful decisions. You know, these people are outside the church. They could go inside, but they're huddled outside. I mean, it's hard to say exactly what's going on in that card. And that's what we love about the tarot, is there's lots of symbology. So you can interpret it based on your intuition and based on what you're being guided to interpret it as. And for me, I'm getting like they're purposefully outside the church. They're purposefully staying outside. Like they maybe there's an open door of the church that's like, hey, welcome in, you know, free food in here, and there's, you know, free place to sleep. And they're just huddled outside in the cold. And they're choosing that, and they're not even seeing the door. They're not even being like, hey, I could step through there. That's awesome. This is great. And so, you know, I feel like you need to know, I just heard in my mind, abundance is a mindset. So again, I'm not saying to make like a reckless financial decision and like, hey, go gamble all your money away at the casino. I would never tell someone to do that. Or go buy something you definitely can't afford. But in a way, sometimes, I mean, you make good financial decisions for yourself, of course, but sometimes it's like going out. I mean, like, I don't know how I can, maybe this is a little tight for my budget, but I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to have the energy of, I can afford every bit of this. I'm going to welcome this in. I'm going to know it's mine. That will be the energy that makes more blessings happen and makes the blessing accelerate. So think about, and you don't even have to spend money to do it, you know, but just getting your mindset right, getting your mind into a place of expecting the best, expecting goodness. I think that's what your guides are asking for you. Your future self is telling you, pile two. So I really hope that resonated, you guys. Let me know if it did in the comments. I always love hearing from you, love hearing your stories, your reflections, your thoughts. So definitely let me know what you guys think. Also, if it resonated, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button. And if you guys want to see more of my readings, make sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications, hit the little bell so you can find out as soon as I post next. And if you guys want to see more of my readings, be sure to head over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. I just posted one all about what makes you sexy. So that is a fun little juicy reading to watch. But as soon as you sign up, you get access to all my additional readings. So over 55 additional readings about love, career, money, spirituality, future life, past lives, family, friends, relocation, so many different topics. So if you guys want to check that out, be sure to head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description and join my Patreon, and I would love to see you there. Also, if you guys want to get a one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me. You can have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel mediumship, or intuitively. You can do a year ahead reading, a love reading, a career reading. You can just do an energy check, and you can really ask me about whatever within reason. So if you want to get a reading with me, like I said, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and I would love to do a reading for you. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sending you guys so much love and light, and I'll be back very soon again for another reading. So take care, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Hey, pile three, welcome to your reading. So for your cards, you guys got Many Masks, the Authentic Self, Watchers, Transpersonal, Joyful Muse, Inspiration, and Stars in the Sky, Limitless Possibility. So I am getting this excited feeling as I tune into your energy and looking at the cards. I feel like some of you guys are really being called to start a new project, possibly a creative project, and to really be unafraid to put yourself out there. It's almost like this is the time. Why not go for it? Why not do it? Why not take this little risk and run with it? Like, some of you guys might have been holding yourself back, afraid of the judgment of others, but I feel like there's something that has so much potential here. There's something that I feel like is just ready to bloom, ready to burst, ready to pop, ready to just pop off and go crazy. And it's like, why not just make this happen? Because again, I feel like there's so much potential. I'm hearing from Spirit, you're better at this than you think you are. Whatever this is, whether it's a creative project, something else, maybe it's like, for some of you guys, it could even be something like applying to a program or applying to a job or applying to a school or something. And you're like, I don't know if I'm good enough. And I feel like you need to know you are good enough, and there's so much potential here. Whatever this is that has been like banging around in your mind, you've been thinking about doing it, you've been considering it, it's like, I feel like this honestly satisfies a really deep part of you as well. There's so much potential here for you to explore something in yourself that I think it's like you've wanted to go to for a long time. You wanted to go there. You wanted to explore whatever this is, and you've been kind of like unsure, like, I don't know if I'm good enough, I don't know like if it's gonna take off. And it's like, you are good enough and it is gonna take off. It's gonna be so amazing. Again, there's so much potential. It just feels like an untapped well, almost like one of those, you know how like they'll map out oil in certain areas and they'll like go in with like one of their little electronic machines, I don't know, and they'll be able to map and see like what place has oil or not, and they don't necessarily need to like dig down to actually see, but they can just like use their little radar thing, I don't know, and they'll be able to see like, oh, there's a little oil well under there. And I feel like if y'all, if this thing, this area of your life was a little piece of ground, it would have a ton of oil, okay? Or a ton of gold, or whatever you want to call it. There's so much here. There's so much untapped potential. There's so many gifts. It just feels like it's ready to explode. It has the most positive feeling to it. So I feel like this is something you really need to try at. You need to give it your all. You need to explore it. Look, I just got so excited by looking at the first 3 cards as I was pulling and getting like some channel downloads already. I didn't even pay attention to this card. Limitless possibility, stars in the sky. It's limitless. Like, this can go anywhere. This can be so amazing for you. The sky is the limit, okay? There is no limit. It's unlimited, and I feel like some of you guys really need to give this a chance to grow where it's going to grow. It's kind of like, you know what I heard is, and I know this because my dad still is a gardener, an avid gardener. He loves to garden. That's that's his like hobby that he just loves. We always had a really big garden, like a very lush garden, because my dad just loves to garden as a hobby. So anyway, one thing that I've heard, though, we didn't really grow a ton of basil, but what I've heard is like, you know, you get those tiny little basil or those basil plants from the store, and you can buy them for like $3 usually. And there's like a little basil plant inside of it. But what I heard is the reason why they die so fast is because it's a tiny little pot. And if you actually take it out and remove it, and like you have to like kind of spread it out a little and like cut it and give it some like different roots or something like that, but you can grow so much basil from that tiny pot. And like I said, my family didn't really grow a lot of basil, but one thing we would grow is mint. And when, like, you know, my dad traveled a lot, and when he was home from traveling, he'd like plant the mint, but like none of us knew how to garden, so it would grow completely out of control. Anyone who's grown mint knows what I'm talking about. Like, the mint will just spread out into the rest of the garden and grow everywhere. And I'm getting that vision of someone like taking a plant out of like a tiny little pot and putting it in the garden, and next thing they know, it's like covering the whole garden. And when I tell you, we used to have the most amazing mint everything in summer, like in every drink, whether it was lemonade or iced tea or water, literally anything, we'd put in a bunch of mint sprigs. And I still miss that, because like iced tea with mint in it is like elite. Muddled mints, lemonade, elite. So good. And that's what I feel like with you guys is like, there's something so amazing, delicious, fantastic here that you guys are going to be so happy with. So it's like one of those plants that just, as soon as you plant it, it's going to go crazy. It's going to grow like wildfire and cover everything. You know what I mean? In a good way, in a positive way, not like an uzu vine that will like choke things, but like actually so wonderful. Like mint, putting mint inside your salad and having it in like your drink and just making mint desserts. It's like a beautiful, beautiful type of plant. So anyways, guys, let's get into some tarot cards though. For pile number 3, we want to know what is happening for them. Okay, we got the 3 of Swords, Strength. I don't know if that's upright or reverse because it came out perfectly on its side, but we'll see. The Moon, 10 of Swords, reverse. So maybe this is supposed to be reversed because there's kind of similarities. Queen of Swords, reversed. Okay, yeah, because I feel like some of you guys, you know, it's making more sense to me a little bit. I feel like some of you guys have been, like I've been saying, you know, a little pessimistic. The Queen of Swords, I mean, she is a queen. We love all the queen cards, but I do feel like sometimes of all the queens, she's definitely the most pessimistic. You know, she's that one that will hold your feet to the fire and ask you 20 questions and try to figure out, like, okay, what is the over under on this? I need all the details. She's intelligent. She's like a genius, and she's super smart and perceptive. And so she's going to want to know all the details, but sometimes you don't get to see all the details. Sometimes you got to kind of trust. And sometimes with the Queen of Swords reversed, I almost feel like there's a message to you that, like, you don't have to feel like you're perfect. You don't have to have every detail figured out. You don't have to know exactly how this is going to play out. You don't have to see all the, like, complete every step along the journey. You don't have to have a complete map of everything that's going to happen, or know every single contingency and every single option and every single thing that's going to take place. And sometimes with the Queen of Swords reversed, I feel like you guys might be a little bit overly critical or optimistic. You know, it's kind of like, I feel like when you're younger, you have, like, you're very naive to things. Like, it's reminding me of, I remember there was this girl who really didn't like me in middle school, and my mom would always tell me she was jealous of me and that's why she was doing this. And I really thought my mom was just like being a mom and being nice to me. You know what I mean? Like, she was just trying to make me feel better, and it wasn't really true. I've told you before, my mom is super positive, which I love about her, but sometimes she would tell me things like, no, you're amazing at math. You just haven't found the right teacher. And I would, like, I think my Mercury square Pluto, I was always like, it's not the truth. I want the truth. I want to know deep down. I want, like, so I would always be like, no, that's not the case. And it would kind of annoy me, you know, because I was like, I'm bad at math. And no, she's not jealous of me. She just doesn't like me. And it's so funny because I was convinced of that. I thought my mom was completely just saying that. And then it's like when I, you know, started seeing that happen to, like, younger girls, you know, like when I was in high school, and then you look down at, like, the freshman girls, and you can kind of see, like, oh, that girl's really pretty. Oh, that girl's being mean to her all the time. Oh yeah, it's clearly jealousy. Or just, oh, that girl has a really special spark to her energy, and then that girl's always being nasty to her. Oh yeah, it's jealousy. And it's so obvious. It couldn't be more obvious. You can see it like crystal clear when it's happening to someone else. But I think so much of the time when you're in it, you don't see your own potential. You don't see what you have going on. You don't really see, like, oh, like, I have this special sparkle to me, and that's why this person's hating. You just feel the hate. You just feel, like, the nastiness and the meanness. And I think it's almost like there's a message for you guys where you're unaware of your potential. You're unaware of everything you bring to the table and how special you are, and how, yes, you're really good enough at this. It's also bringing to my mind, you know, I know when I would take tests, like if I was testing in English and history, social studies, like anything like that, psychology, I would always leave the test like, ugh, I did so bad, because I was really good in those studies. Those were like the fields where I excelled in. And as I just mentioned, I was never really good at math or science. So whenever I would take a math or science class, I was always like convinced I did so great on the test. I would leave my math class, you know, if there was a test, and I would be like, I think I got 100. I think I got the extra credit too. Like, that was great. I wouldn't even think about it too much or like come up with a number, because in my mind it was just like, good, thumbs up. Yep, I did great. And then I get the test back and it would be like, you know, 79 or something. And I'd be like, oh, okay, so it wasn't so great. But I would be fully confident because I had no idea what I was doing in that field. I think that's why, like, beginner's luck is a thing, is because you're so chill. When you have no idea what you're doing, you're so chill. And when you know the subject, you can be so self-critical. And so I feel like there's a message for you guys about being a little bit less self-critical. Like, it's funny because the test that I would actually get the 100% on and get the extra credit and do so great and have the teacher write on it afterwards, like, yeah, well done, that was a great answer, would be the test that I would leave convinced, oh, that was horrible. Oh, I did so bad. Oh my gosh, like, geez, I probably failed. I didn't know the answer to that one question. I can't believe that. It's so obvious now. I remember studying it and like, how did I get that wrong? And I'd be fixated on these tiny little details because I was so good at the subject. You know what I mean? And then the subjects where I was completely clueless, it's like I couldn't care less. And so to me, it was like all like all good, all fine, you know? And I think that's how sometimes we seem like we just are surrounded by incompetent people and like the most incompetent people become the leaders in our society, or the most delusional people become the ones who are like in control, or the craziest, most like what are you saying people become politicians, or you know what I mean? And I think it's because like they're the ones who actually have the confidence, and the people who are actually skilled and smart are like at home, you know, like overthinking it and thinking about and like agonizing over it. I mean, like, yeah, well, I would run for mayor, but the thing is that I'm not great at like astrophysics. So if there was a meteor that struck the town, I wouldn't know what to do. And maybe they would be the best mayor in the history of the world, but they are too self-critical and they kind of tend to fixate on the negative. And I feel like there's a message for you guys of like really gassing yourself up and really acknowledging how great you are, and really acknowledging, why can't I talk? I don't know. Acknowledging your talent, acknowledging how much potential you have that I feel like so many other people see, and stop allowing, because I feel like so many of you guys are being called to do something a lot bigger, to make a change, to pivot, to maybe show more of yourself in some ways. Like it could be that you're being called with this Watchers transpersonal to like really show yourself to the world in some way, put yourself out there in some way. And then there's a part of you that's like, yeah, everyone's gonna think it's lame, you know, it's probably not that great, it's probably like really bad. And if you only had that delusional mindset that like, oh, I'm awesome, yeah, this is great, this is fantastic, I know I'm good, then you would be people would be so grateful to have someone like you actually putting their stuff out there in some way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, not to get into politics or anything, but I think everyone comments on like, you know, it's like it's always the politicians who seem to be like the least qualified, or someone who just doesn't know what they're talking about, that gets elected, you know, and then it's the person who like really cares and really, you know, knows what they're talking about, that doesn't even want the position of power, and will be like, no, I'm not right. No, I would never want to be the mayor because, oh no, I don't want that kind of responsibility. And that's exactly who should run: the person who's not power hungry, the person who actually knows what they're talking about and cares and is highly intelligent. And unfortunately, because that person has a high level of self-awareness, they'll be the one who's too self-critical. And the crazy, completely delusional person who's like, I'm freaking awesome, I'm perfect, is the one who's going to run, and no one benefits. You know what I mean? So if only we could just start gassing up the competent people, then maybe the world would be a way better place. And I feel like it's like you guys need to start, like I said, gassing yourself up and talking about how great you are, and recognizing your potential in this, recognizing how beautiful you are and how special and how smart you are. And for some of you guys, it might even be physical lack of confidence. Like maybe you criticize yourself when you're out and about, or when you're, you know, getting dressed up, you're like, oh, like my thighs are too big, or oh my gosh, like I'm too skinny, I wish I had some curves, or, you know, oh my gosh, my nose, it's too big. And it's like, if you could just have the feeling and the energy and the vibe of like, I'm so beautiful, I look amazing, then everything would change. You know, it's reminding me of, they say Cleopatra, who's a famous beauty and everyone knows her as, you know, one of the most beautiful women throughout history, but they said she's not actually traditionally beautiful. Like if we saw her today, if we were to, like, she was to be a figure nowadays, like pretty much no one would consider her to be beautiful. She was played by like Elizabeth Taylor, you know, in the 70s, I think, who's one of the most beautiful women who's ever walked the face of the earth. I love Elizabeth Taylor. I think she's so iconic. But that wouldn't be actually what she looked like. She, you know, she wouldn't necessarily have that beautiful figure and face that Elizabeth Taylor had. But they said she was considered so beautiful because of her energy, and because she would like anoint herself in oils, and because she would present herself like she introduced herself, I think, to Caesar, I guess, or Mark Antony, whoever. Anyway, one of her famous emperors that she had the affair with, by like being floated down the river, in the Nile River, in a barge with like her, you know, servants fanning her, and like just presented herself as if she was this goddess, as if she was this basically like beauty idol. And so it worked, even though maybe her face wasn't perfect, or her whatever was going on. I don't really know the details, but basically the point is how she carried herself, the energy she had, the attitude she had, the feeling she had towards herself, the feeling she embodied, the energy she gave off spoke the most volumes. And for some of you guys, you need to stop being so self-critical, and you need to stop getting down on yourself, and you need to just be willing to put yourself out there. It's so funny how, it's reminding me of those scenes from like the movies where like The Princess Diaries or Miss Congeniality. This used to be a really big thing. I don't think they do it anymore because I guess it's like problematic now or something. But it was always fun to see those makeover scenes in movies where they would take like the plain girl. And sometimes it was kind of like unbelievable, like in She's All That, because obviously whoever that girl is, Rachel Lee Cook, she's like so beautiful. Like there's no way. I don't think they even did much to disguise her looks. They just put glasses on her, and it's like, who wouldn't notice this woman as being like absolutely stunning? I don't know. But anyway, they always do the scene where they like take their, change their clothes and put on different makeup and change their hair up, and then they walk out and they're suddenly super sexy. And the funny thing is like they were the same person, right? They were the same exact actress playing that. They were the same bone structure, the same face, the same body, and yet because they present differently, people get the vibration. When they see Sandra Bullock and she's like wearing her hair back in a messy ratty ponytail and has like zero makeup on, and she's wearing like a pantsuit, no one takes her as like a sexual energy. But when they see her in like a skin tight gown and her hair blown out and makeup on, then they understand the vibration of that. It's not even about actually those clothes, because in like different societies, they have different ideas of beauty, and they have different ideas of what clothing conveys attraction, or what clothing is a symbol of femininity or of like goddess energy. But in like the West, obviously the movie was filmed in America, that skin tight little outfit she was wearing is like our symbol of like, oh, this is a highly desirable woman. And so as soon as she put that on, it was like a signifier, you know what I mean? And sometimes we keep ourselves in like these dowdy clothes, we hide away from the world in some way, when the reality is that if we just put ourselves out there, if we were willing to show ourselves off a little, if we were willing to step into that role, even if we didn't feel like we fully embodied it yet, if we were willing to just show ourselves to the world, we would get so much more of the energy we're wanting, and we would start to embody that. And I feel like a lot of you guys just really need to learn not to hold yourselves back with whatever this is. Again, whether it's looks, whether it's a creative project, whatever this is that you're thinking. It could just be you're thinking of dressing differently, you're thinking of presenting yourself to the world differently, you're thinking of putting yourself out there in some way. I also feel like for some of you guys, could even be a message about like how you approach your friends, or maybe like sometimes someone will invite you to do something and you're like, oh God, I feel so awkward today, or I'm stressed about work. I don't want to hang out with anyone right now. Like, I feel like I'm in a bad mood and I'll be weird. And, I'm not, no, I can't go. Sorry. Or you're like, I'd really like to text this person. Like, I really would love to hang out with them. But you know what? They'll probably think I'm a weirdo if I text them. They'll probably think I'm cringe. Like, I'm going to look like just weird texting this person, so I'm not going to say anything. And it's like, I feel like your energy, you don't realize how beautiful and special it is. Ooh, a dove just flew past my window. That was weird. So again, I feel like that's confirmation from spirit, because that was very rare. It was an all white dove. I think it was a dove. Like, how rare and special is that? A beautiful all white dove. And I feel like that's you guys. You are this special, beautiful dove that you don't even realize your own beauty. You don't even realize how much you stand out. You don't even realize how rare and unique you are. And I feel like your guides are like, why not put yourself out there? Why not show yourself, give more of yourself to the world? I think you'll be surprised by how much, you get a good reception. Like, I find for me, it's almost like, I think when you first start YouTube, you're like, oh, I want to make sure I'm on my best vibe for all the videos. I want to make sure I can give the most of myself. I want to make sure all the videos are on point. And I found that whenever I'm like obsessing over a video, or I'm trying to get it super stylized, and I'm trying to make everything perfect, it's like inevitably those videos, like, they do okay, they do, fine, but they're not, a lot of times it's like the video I film when I'm in a rush and I'm like, oh, okay, here it is, and there's like nothing going on in the background, and those videos do the best. And it's also funny because I think there was a part of myself that was like, oh, I don't want to overwhelm people with videos. I don't want to be putting out videos all the time. I don't want to, people are going to like, why would they want to hear my voice? You know what I mean? Why would anyone want to listen to me? But what I found is the more content I put out, the more people like it. And I think a lot of people find that. Like, I think it's like, isn't with Taylor Swift, since according to some of the comments, I obsessively talk about her. I don't mean to, but I, I understand the criticism. But like, you know how she put out those 2 albums during the middle of quarantine in 2020? She put out 2 like full-length albums back to back. And like, I feel like with her record label and stuff, like if I was a record executive, I would be like, what the F are you doing? Like, there's no way we can market 2 full albums. Okay. Like, most of the time with albums, you have to like do a long promotion cycle. You have to like contact record or like radio stations. You have to get them agree to play them. You have to set everything up. You have to plan like a tour. You have to plan appearances on like Good Morning America and all this stuff. And it's like this whole process for an album release. Okay. And it's very involved. And also there's probably a fear that like, you're really going to overwhelm the market. Taylor had only released albums like every 2 years, I think. And I think she skipped a year with Reputation. Like it was slightly late or something. But anyway, so she had very limited, like every 2 years you get, 14 songs or whatever it is, or you get this one album and that's it. And so it was like this, scarcity thing of like, oh, well, everyone's excited when she puts out her new album. And suddenly you're inundating the market with 2 full-length albums in the span of like 2 months. Like, what kind of business strategy is that? You know what I mean? And yet those albums did so well. And not only that, but I really feel like they changed the trajectory of her career, where she went from being just known as a pop star to being considered more of like an auteur, an author, a writer, which is, I think, more accurate to what she actually is. And so I think, probably I would be afraid if I had this very traditional release schedule that like, I'm going to overwhelm people. No one's going to want to listen to this. People are going to be like, oh my God, like, why are you putting out so many songs? Like, there's no way that it's going to work out well for me. And yet the more songs she puts out, the more albums she puts out, the more people respond to it. You know what I mean? So I think so much of the time we think, oh, let me like only show the best version of myself. Let me not to come on too strong. Let me not inundate people with me. People are going to get bored with me. People aren't going to like me. Let me just let me just only show the best version of myself and just kind of tiptoe around. When the reality is, I think the more you show of yourself, the more you give to the world, the more honest you are, the more you reveal of yourself, the more people actually like it. And it's sometimes counterintuitive. Like, we really think, oh, I'm just going to show this very special stylized version of myself. I'm going to really curate everything. But I think the more honest we are and the more bold and unafraid we are, the more people respond to it. Let me get into some message cards for pile number 3. What does this say? Rise above it. It's not yours to carry. You are an empath. Okay. And okay, wait, these 2 came out. Nothing real can be threatened. How can you actively participate in creating heaven on earth? Oh, and then 2 more. Okay, so you guys get 4 cards. This one says everything is a reflection, holds up the energetic mirror, and forgiveness will set you free. What do you need to forgive yourself for? So, I feel like maybe for some of you guys, maybe this is like fear of past things that have happened, past times you've been screwed over, past times people haven't liked you, past times you failed. And there may be a need to release that. There may be too much focusing on the negative, focusing on the past, focusing on things that, didn't work out, or times that people didn't like you, people didn't appreciate you, people didn't see the vision, people didn't understand what you were doing, people assumed the worst of you or treated you bad or whatever. And I feel like you need to know that if that didn't work out, if you had people reject you in the past, then those people weren't for you. But nothing real can be threatened. If it's actually for you, it will always be for you and it will work out. And so knowing that, you won't be so afraid to put out whatever this is or to show yourself strongly to the world. You'll be like, let me show myself as early as possible so I can sort the wheat from the chaff. I can sort the people who are actually on my side, actually for me, from the people who don't actually get me, don't understand me, don't actually like me that much. Because if you have been screwed over in the past by relationships, by people, by situations where you felt rejected, even in like career situations, it could be like you really, did your all on something and then, people didn't like it or whatever. You didn't get the reception you wanted. It can be that those people weren't for you. And the more authentic you can be, the more you can show yourself to the world truthfully as you really are, the more chances you're going to have to align with the people that are for you, the people that do get you, that do see what you're doing and do appreciate it and do resonate well with your energy. So I think knowing that, honestly, this is just a call for you guys, again, to be really unafraid with how you put yourself out there, to show yourself to the world as truthfully and honestly as you can, and allow the magic to happen. Just like, all my dad would have to do was plant that tiny little mint plant, and the next thing you knew, you know, he'd come back from a trip and it would be like all over the freaking like herb planter. And we loved that because we love the mint. But my point is there's so much potential here. Let it grow, let it unfold, let it be abundant, let it, scent your garden with the most delicious herbal minty smell. Let it happen, because I feel like there's so much here and you guys are so special, pile one. So let your life grow out of control, unruly with abundance. Let all the blessings come. Show yourself to the world as much as possible and don't be afraid. Don't hold yourself back. Don't feel like you have to be cool. Like, oh, I don't want to reach out to this person. I want to seem cool. No, do it. Put yourself out there, let it happen, and show yourself as much as you can. So anyways, I think that's what I have for you guys. Pile one. I really hope it resonated. If it did, let me know in the comments. I always love hearing from you. I love hearing your thoughts, your stories, your observations. So let me know in the comments. I'm always curious. And also make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, and make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. Hit that little bell so you can find out as soon as I post next. And if you guys want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. I just posted one all about what makes you sexy. So that's a fun little juicy one. But as soon as you sign up, you get access to all my additional readings. So over 55 additional readings about career, love, spirituality, money, friendship, family members, future life, past lives, relocation, so many different topics to choose from. So if you guys would like to check that out, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description and join me over on Patreon. And if you guys want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me. You can have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel mediumship, or intuitively. You can do a year ahead reading, a love reading, a career reading, just an energy check-in. You basically get to ask me what you want in your allotted time. So if you'd like to get one of those readings, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back very soon again for another reading. So take care, guys, and I'll see you then. Bye. Hey Pile 4, welcome to your reading. So for your cards, you guys got Perfect Storm, the courage to step into life, Empty Well, time to replenish, Eye of the Needle, intentionality, and Hollow Bone, teachability. So the first thing I'm getting off the bat is that some of you guys, you might be kind of at your wit's end with a certain situation. There may be something that you keep trying to change, trying to fix, trying to like take care of, and it's kind of like at a dead end. Like it's almost like we don't need to keep pushing ourselves on this situation. We don't need to try to change the outcome so many times. Sometimes there's things that we just need to kind of call a spade and leave in the past. So I am getting a message for some of you guys that if there's been something that you just feel like you're beating your head against the wall with it, you keep trying, you keep pushing on it, and it just doesn't seem to be budging. I'm feeling for a lot of you guys, this could actually be a person that you're dealing with. This could be a relationship that you keep trying to fix or untangle, or to, somehow alter it or alter this person. It may be that it's not really alterable. It's not changeable. It is what it is. And sometimes the smartest thing we can do is know when to leave, know when to hold them, and know when to fold them. And sometimes we keep trying to push ourselves to try to, change someone or get them to see us for how we are, treat us with respect, when the best thing we can do is just be like, okay, so it's not like that. So we don't have that kind of relationship. You don't respect me, or whatever the case may be. not even be angry about it, but just be like, okay, so I'm going to move on and I'm going to do my own thing and I'm going to focus on my own life. Because when we're giving our energy to situations that don't serve us, that's energy we could be directing towards our goals, towards our dreams, towards our ambitions, towards other amazing relationships with people that would serve us. Because I'm feeling like, sometimes in life we waste so much time. I can think back to past relationships I've had with people that, like, maybe they did some shady things, but I kept hoping, like, well, I'm going to really show them who I are and then who I am, and then they're going to really like me. Then they're going to finally, treat me well, and all of that is going to go out the window. And of course, that never happens. If someone doesn't like you, they're never going to like you. I really believe that. You're never going to change how they really feel towards you. If a situation isn't resonating with you as like a good situation, like you're at your workplace, you always felt like your boss kind of hated you and had it out for you, but you keep hoping that if you do the project the right way, that they're going to like take a liking to you and suddenly warm up to you. And sometimes we just got to admit, like, this isn't the path for me. This isn't right for me. This isn't good for me. This isn't the place I should be at. And we've got to be willing to kind of pivot and move on and keep in mind how valuable our energy is. Because I feel like pile 4, you guys really need to be reminded that your energy is so powerful and so special. And you guys in this pile have the ability to move mountains with your energy. You have the ability to change the world. You guys are so powerful and your energy is precious. So why are you wasting it and directing it towards people that don't appreciate it, don't see your value? There's like, I've seen, there's a meme or something going around on like Instagram that kind of like talks about this, but it's kind of like how, you can buy a bunch of water bottles from the grocery store or from like Costco or something and pay something like, 14 cents a bottle, right? You can get them for really cheap. But if you took that same bottle and you just wanted to buy it in an airport or in, at like a stadium, at like a crowded concert or a crowded baseball game or something, they could sell you that water bottle for like 10, 15 bucks, right? And that's the thing, is so much of the value of something is based on where it's at, the location, how receptive the person is. If you are a thirsty person sweating it out in the middle of a baseball game in July in like Atlanta, you're going to be willing to pay that 10 bucks for that water bottle. You know what I mean? And that same person, if you would try to sell the water bottle to them for $10 when they were, just going about their day shopping in the grocery store, they would have been like, "Are you crazy? Are you insane? That's definitely not worth that." But once you pivot it and put it in the baseball stadium and or the airport or whatever, they're totally willing to pay that. And my point is that so much of the time we waste our time trying to get people to see us, trying to get people to get us, trying to get people to finally understand what we're doing, when our energy would be better served pivoting to someone or some place or some situation where people actually understand us, where we're kind of in the right environment. It's kind of like you can grow a cactus to amazing heights. You can grow those saguaro, I don't know if I'm saying that right, cactuses to like 50 feet tall or something insane. And they can grow super big, healthy, beautiful, but you can't grow that cactus in the middle of Wisconsin, okay? It would be way too cold, way too wet. And by the same token, you can grow a big, beautiful, like fir tree in Minnesota, but you probably can't grow it in Minnesota or in Arizona. I just got confused because those state names sound bizarrely similar. But anyway, you cannot grow a fir tree in Arizona, but it'll grow really tall in Minnesota. And my point is sometimes it's just about finding the right environment for you, right? It's not to say that necessarily the fir tree is better than the cactus, but one is going to thrive in that environment and one is not going to. And for some of you guys, you might be being called to reposition yourself into a situation where people actually get you, where people actually respect you, especially if you've been feeling your energy has been a little depleted lately, especially if you feel you've been surrounded by people who don't get you or assume the worst about you, or you could be doing something harmless. When I think back to relationships where I wasted my time at, it's almost funny because I saw an old text message from like an old friend that I'm not friends with anymore. We're kind of friends, but we're not close by any means anymore. And it's so funny because at the time we were like arguing about something super small. And this person like got mad at me or accused me of lying or something about something so ridiculous, so tiny. It's literally comical. Actually, the text I found were me talking about it with someone else and being like, and she was like, that is whack. Why would she even say that to you? And I was like, I know, she's, blah, blah, blah. And I was complaining about it. But what I should have been doing is just being like, you're right. Let me cut off this friendship now. And I look back and I'm just like, wow, it's so funny because I really think in that friendship I kept thinking, well, I'm gonna, deep down subconsciously, obviously this wasn't conscious, but subconsciously, oh, I'm gonna prove to her I'm not lying. I'm gonna prove to her that I'm, a good friend or whatever. And the reality is, if someone thinks you're lying or if someone thinks you're not a good person and you are not a liar or you are a good person, then they're never gonna get it. Okay. They're probably looking for a flaw. They're looking for a conflict. They're making something up. I don't even think this person accused me of lying, but they basically like didn't believe me or wasn't supportive of me. But the point is if someone is going to take that attitude towards you, if they're going to see the worst in you, that's going to apply no matter what situation you're in, right? It doesn't even matter. You could be telling the truth until you're blue in the face. You could be trying to convince them. You could be on your best behavior. You could be as giving, supportive, as loving, as kind to them as you want. And if they don't want to see you like that, they're not going to get it. It's kind of like, I love sweets. I love ice cream in particular, gelato. I mentioned that before. And I've dated guys that are just not sweet people, and I would always be convinced, like, no, maybe they're holding back. They're telling me they don't like sweets because, they're trying to be healthy, or they, maybe they want me to eat all the desserts. So that's why they don't, or eat much of the brownie when we order one. But I'm going to let them know that, like, come on, it's okay. We can enjoy this ice cream together. And so we'd go to the ice cream place and I'd be like, no, you got to order something too. I'm not going to eat this by myself. And inevitably they'd be like, okay, I guess I'll get this. And they wouldn't enjoy it that much. And ice cream just wasn't their fave. Now for me, it's incomprehensible because I love ice cream. I love gelato, like fave food probably. So I really still don't get it. But that's the point, is if it's not the flavor for them, they can have as much delicious ice cream that I can recognize as insanely good, so delicious, and it's never going to appeal to them. Sometimes it's just not the right flavor. It's just not the right cuisine. It's just not the right taste. And that's not necessarily a reflection of you or a bad thing on your part. It doesn't mean that gelato is any less delicious, but it just means they don't get it. So for some of you guys, I feel like this is a message about pivoting to maybe a situation in which you're in the right environment and people around you are going to get you and understand you. Let's get into some tarot cards for pile number 4. So we got the Ace of Wands reversed, 7 of Swords reversed, the High Priestess, Knight of Wands, Page of Pentacles reversed, the Fool, and the Magician. Wow, look how many powerful major arcana cards we have. We got the Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess, all extremely powerful. So I almost feel like when I look back on like that friendship, and it's funny because, like, again, I had one of those weird glitches where I found old text messages that I swear, like, it's never happened to me. And since I started doing these readings on here, I think I always get like a download from it. So that's why it keeps happening. And so as I was looking at that old text, and I was like, I can't believe that even happened. Like, I can't believe she would have told me, like, she would have not believed me on this situation. And I kind of got mad in retrospect based on a situation that happened a long time ago, but I was still like, oh my God, she said that. And I kept thinking, like, it's so funny because we had other falling outs, and I'm like, I just wish I'd listened to that first. It's not that I like hate this person or resent them, but I wish I had not wasted my time. That's my point, is like, your time, your energy is valuable. You guys are the Magician. You guys are the Fool. You guys are the High Priestess. The Fool and the Magician have so much potential. The Fool is the beginning of the whole tarot deck. It is that the beginning of the hero's journey. It is that endless potential contained perfectly in a little egg, which is what the 0, kind of looks like, is like an egg, right? And within the egg, you have the whole chicken. You have all the nutrients. It hasn't grown into it yet, but it can. And it's literally such a powerful symbol. And I feel like for you guys, you have so much inside of you. Look, this guy's even holding all the signs of the zodiac wheel. Like, there's so much potential within the Fool card. There's so much potential with the Ace of Wands and with the Knight of Wands. And for you guys, it's like, I think in a way, the worst part about tolerating a bad situation, be it a bad employment situation, yeah, a bad employer, employment situation, a bad friend, a bad whatever, is the wasted time, the wasted opportunity. The fact that we look back and we're like, that's the thing I poured my energy into, that like stupid, no point to it, ridiculous situation that was inevitably going to end the same, and yet I poured my energy into it. Again, it's like trying to grow that cactus in Minnesota. You could probably get it going for like a summer. You could probably, maybe like wall it off so that water can't access it or something, I don't know. And once it gets really, warmer and hot, then you could maybe grow it for a little while, and the cactus might look like it's doing well. But inevitably, as soon as fall and winter sets in, the cactus is going to die. And by the same token, maybe you could like water the heck out of an oak tree and start getting it growing in the middle of Arizona, but inevitably it's just not going to be able to grow big. It's not going to be able to really take root and grow and actually turn into an actual oak. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that's the bad part of these relationships, is like they don't change who we are as a person, but it's just a waste of our time. And it's like if we just pivoted our energy to people that got us, to fertile ground, to people that understood us, to people who saw what we were doing, recognized our intentions, and saw us with good eyes, like rose-colored glasses. They didn't assume the worst about us. They weren't overly critical. They weren't like trying to see, like, catch us out with random stuff, but they actually were like an advocate for us, and they wanted to see us thrive. They wanted to see us do well. Because again, when I found that old text message, that's what was ridiculous, is like it was such a stupid situation. I'm like, why didn't they believe me? Like, why would anyone lie about this situation? And with that friend, that was like a constant theme, was like I could tell them the sky was blue and they wouldn't really believe me. And even later on, I had introduced them to another friend of mine. And this friend was like so warm, so welcoming, took them out for like this beautiful dinner and all this stuff. And they told me afterwards, I couldn't believe how rude your friend was. They kept asking me kind of these invasive questions. And it kind of seemed like they didn't believe me. And it's so funny because that was the same energy I would get, but I would write it off. And because I didn't have, I think, this sense of more boundaries, I would be like, well, they just want to know. Well, they don't get it. Well, maybe I'll explain it to them again. Instead of just being like, this person clearly has issues with not trusting people, or just being very skeptical, or they're just, they got issues, whatever the issues may be. Who knows? They just don't look on the bright side or whatever. But it was kind of my other friend pointing it out. She was like, this, and I know this friend, they're so trustworthy. The idea that they would be like hiding something is literally ludicrous. But the funny thing is we can kind of see where those boundaries should exist with ourselves, but sometimes with others, but with ourselves, we tend to let people overstep, or we kind of make excuses, or we're like, well, maybe I didn't explain it right. You know what? I'm going to approach them again. When the reality is we should just cut our ties and be like, oh, this person's dysfunctional. Okay, on to someone new who's not dysfunctional. And again, I don't hold any ill will to this person, but I was just thinking back on like, dang, because unfortunately, that friendship didn't end, and we stayed friends for years, and we would have falling outs and blah, blah, blah. And again, I really just think, talk about the emotional waste of energy. And this person, I feel like, will always be this way until the day they die, which is fine for them, but I don't want to be around it, to be honest. And again, I'm still friends with them, kind of. Like, I think they would consider me a friend, and, I don't hate them, but we're definitely not. I've kind of cleared them out of my life to a much larger extent. And I think that that's the thing, is I just wish I had listened to my intuition earlier. I wish I had just put up some boundaries and just stopped giving it my energy more earlier. And I feel like for you guys, there's a message with you about like, what unlimited potential are you holding back for yourself? What amazing abilities or amazing energy or positive vibe that you give off that so many people would love to be around are other people in your life taking for granted and disrespecting you on, because only you can seize back that respect. Only you can demand the treatment you deserve. Only you can set the price. It's kind of like, Spirit just showed me like someone walking through one of those amusement park things, and like the turnstile thing where they count the number of people who come into the amusement park. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you buy the ticket and then you slide the ticket into the turnstile or whatever, and then you get to go through. And it's like, only you can set the price. You know what I mean? You can set the price of access to you as like 10 cents, or you can set it as like $100. And I mean, and by that I mean you can set the price of admission into your life as someone who's supportive, someone who's loving, someone who sees the best in you, someone who gives you the benefit of the doubt, someone who really sees you for who you are and enjoys you and enjoys your spirit and likes your sense of humor and likes your energy and has positivity to give you. Or you can choose to allow access to people who are causing conflict, people who assume the worst, people where you feel like you can never really explain yourself enough. And no matter what you say, they're going to be like, huh? Well, I don't know about that. That doesn't really make sense to me. Well, I don't know, because to be honest with you, I was talking to Ben and he was mentioning this, those kinds of people in your life. You're never going to convince them. And why would you even want them in the amusement park that is your life? Why would you even want them in that story? Why would you even want to spend even 10 seconds of your life explaining yourself to someone who's committed to misunderstanding you? So whether this is a person, situation, place, thing, whatever the case may be, I just think you need to know, like I said, when to hold them and when to fold them, when to pivot, when to be like, this is not, no, this isn't fertile ground for me. Let me move, let me switch into something else. So whatever this is, again, it may not be a person, it may be a thing, place, workplace, whatever. But I feel like some of you guys need to learn how valuable your energy is and when to stop pouring it into situations that aren't really going to benefit you and aren't really going to work for your highest and greatest good. And something you should be asking yourself is like, does this serve my goals? What are my long-term goals? And making sure that I have that in mind, making sure that I continuously think of the end destination I'm trying to head to. And is that heading me there? Is arguing with someone for like 30 minutes on a Tuesday night after work because they're in a bad mood because they had an argument with their boyfriend and they're taking it out on you? Does that serve you, or does it not serve you? Because if it doesn't serve you, it might be something worth pruning and snipping out of your life so that you can grow further and faster. Back to that gardening metaphor, that's what you got to do if you're trying to grow a garden, right? You can't just let weeds and dead plants and stuff sprout. Otherwise, it can like actually choke out the plants that you're trying to grow. So if you're trying to grow a beautiful flower, but you have a bunch of dead old bushes littered around, that might not work so well. Or you have a bunch of weeds choking up all the nutrients in the ground, then it's not going to be able to grow as big as it would. So my point is for you guys is, I think you need to be very intentional about the way you're spending your time, the way you're spending your energy, and whether you're pouring your energy into something that just ultimately isn't fruitful. Let's get into some message cards for pile number 4. What messages do you have for pile 4 from pile 4's future self spirit? Okay, this one came out. Come together, we need each other. And this one was you heal by releasing, not suppressing. So this one says, where have you been separating yourself or pushing against others in the world? And this one says, you heal by releasing, not suppressing. And I don't think you have to like fight with this person. And the question on this, by the way, is what emotions do you need to heal? Or to feel, excuse me, what emotions do you need to feel? And I think that's really what it is some of the time, like when I think back on that relationship, I don't even think I let myself really go there to the point where I would like take in how hurtful it was to me. I think now if someone spoke like that to me, I wouldn't even text them back. If they were like, well, I don't really understand how that, I'd be like, okay, no response from me. Like I wouldn't even care. I'd be like, bye. Well, or I'd probably text back something like, if I did text back, LOL or something, like, or just ignore them, just completely, just not even answer, because I have better boundaries now where if someone's acting shady, I'm just like, okay, bye, see ya. But I think that back in the day, I don't even think I let myself go there to appreciate how shady that was, how kind of like conniving, and how this person always had a little resentment and honestly a little jealousy, I think, towards me. So my point is sometimes I think we ignore the red flags because we don't want to see them. We want to imagine that like this is going to magically work out, this friendship is going to be great, or this workplace is going to be great, or this job that they just never really give us the credit we deserve, it's going to be fantastic, and the boss is going to walk in one day and see all the nice things I've done and they're going to finally appreciate me. Or this business that just doesn't seem to be doing well, has zero growth, It's not even sometimes about leaving that behind. If you're really committed to doing that business, then by all means do it. But maybe how can I pivot? How can I make this more fruitful? How can I take stock of exactly what's happening and make the best decision for me? And how can I stop wasting my energy by pouring it into situations that don't really serve me? So let me get into some more cards for pile number 4. Midas touch. Things are working out in your favor. I love that. And finally, oneness is the way. How can you show more compassion and acceptance towards those you don't understand? So I think it's not about being cruel or angry to these people, but sometimes, also sometimes people are just damaged. They may have their own issues, they may have their own traumas, they may have, I'm sure they do. They have their own past life stuff, and that's their karma and stuff to work through. But I think what you don't have to do is tolerate it. What you don't have to do is turn a blind eye to it, or pretend it's fine, or pretend like, well, I'm just going to be really nice and I hope it's going to change. Sometimes we can just remove ourselves and put ourselves into more fertile ground. And with Midas touch, I really think that there is a lot of potential for you guys. Like I said, you have so much of a magical energy, pile 4. You guys have such a beautiful energy around you. And I just feel like you need to question, are you directing that towards things that benefit you? Or are you kind of pouring it down like this empty well situation, as this card says, that's just endless and hard to fill. And just no matter how much you give to it, it never really seems to like grow. Are you giving it towards situations that are truly seem to be receptive to you, that the energy just seems to flow well and they seem to get you and they seem to understand you? Or are you funneling it towards people that take it for granted, don't appreciate it, turn a blind eye to it? And I think that's what you really need to question. I think you need to recognize how valuable and special your energy is, and how it doesn't just deserve to be poured out onto like a barren ground that's never going to appreciate it, that's never going to have anything come from it. A lot of you guys might need to learn how to like differentiate between that, and to still give love and compassion, and not that you're going to carry around hate in your heart for those people, but also, forgive them and let them go with grace. But you don't have to keep them in your life. Um, you don't have to keep giving your all to situations with people that will never, 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 never get you, never want to see you shine. And like I said, probably have deep traumas or limitations, scarcity mindset, whatever the case may be themselves, that they have to work through. So I think that is what I have for you guys. Pile 4, I really hope it resonated. Let me know if it did in the comments. I always love hearing from you guys, hearing your thoughts, stories, your ideas or reactions to it. So let me know what you guys think. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button if it did resonate with you, and make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications on. Hit the little bell so you can find out as soon as I post next. And if you guys want to see more of my content, be sure to check out my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. I just posted one all about what makes you sexy. So that's a really fun and juicy one. But as soon as you sign up, you get access to all my additional readings. So over 55 additional readings about love, spirituality, career, relocation, so many different topics to choose from. Family, friends, future life, past life. There's a lot. So if you guys want to join me over on Patreon and get access to all of those readings, then be sure to head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description for Patreon. And if you guys want to get a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can sign up for a half hour or a full hour-long session with me. You can have me pull tarot for you, read your astrology, channel mediumship or intuitively. You can ask me about your love life. You can do a year ahead reading, a career reading, just an energy check-in. You get to basically choose what you ask me in our allotted time together. So you can, pretty much within reason, ask me what you want. So anyways, if you guys want to get a reading with me, like I said, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back very soon again for another reading. So take care, guys, and I'll see you then. Bye.